The road was bathed in the golden glow of the setting sun, its warmth glinting off broken glass scattered across the asphalt. The faint smell of burning rubber lingered in the heavy air, mixing with the metallic tang of blood. Silence hovered for a moment, broken only by the chirping of distant cicadas, until the groan of a man kneeling on the road shattered it. His hands shook as he reached out, his flannel shirt smeared with streaks of crimson, while the woman before him sat dazed, her breath coming in short, ragged gasps. She pressed her trembling fingers against her forehead, where a fresh cut bled freely, and though she tried to remain composed, her eyes betrayed the fear that was clawing at her heart. Behind them, a little boy stood in the bed of a pickup truck, his small frame stiff with shock, his white eyes locked on the figures of the two adults before him. He did not cry, though his lips quivered, he simply watched, as if frozen in a nightmare he could not wake from. Stay with me, the man urged, his voice low but steady, though inside he was crumbling. You're going to be okay. I've got you. His calloused hands carefully guided hers away from her wound, holding her bloodied arm as if he could will the pain away. She winced but didn't pull back. Her breaths came faster, uneven, and for a moment she seemed as though she might collapse. He tightened his grip. Look at me. Don't let go. We're not finished here. Cars slowed in the distance, some drivers craning their necks, but few stopped. The world has a way of moving past others' tragedies, as though fear of entanglement outweighed compassion. Yet after a minute, a sedan pulled to the side, and a young woman rushed out, her sneakers slapping against the pavement. She knelt down beside the injured pair, her eyes wide with alarm. Oh God, are you all right? Should I call an ambulance? Yes, the man said quickly. Please. And water, if you have any. The stranger nodded, fumbling for her phone with trembling hands. As she dialed, her gaze shifted to the little boy. He stood like a statue in the truck bed, his face pale. She softened. Sweetheart, it's okay. They're going to be okay. But the boy said nothing, his lips pressed tightly together, as though words were too heavy for him to lift. The injured woman whispered something under her breath, so faint it was nearly lost to the hum of cicadas. The man leaned closer, his ear almost touching her lips. Don't leave him, she murmured. Please, not my boy. You don't worry about him, the man replied, his voice cracking despite his effort to remain strong. He's safe. I promise. The sirens came faint at first, then louder, echoing across the open stretch of road. Red and blue lights flickered against the fading sky, washing over the group in rhythmic flashes. When the paramedics arrived, they worked quickly, their hands efficient, voices calm yet urgent. The woman winced as they examined her wounds, but she kept glancing toward the boy. Her son. Her reason to hold on. The man reached up, guiding the boy down from the truck bed. His knees bent so he could look the child in the eye. Your mom's going to be all right, he said gently. The boy's eyes brimmed with tears at last, and he whispered, will she really? The man swallowed hard, nodding. Yes. Because we won't let her go. The boy clung to him then, burying his face against the man's shoulder, and for a moment the world around them, sirens, chaos, blood, seemed to fall away, leaving only the fragile thread of hope binding them together. At the hospital, hours blurred together. The sterile white corridors hummed with the low murmur of nurses, the squeak of shoes, the beep of machines monitoring fragile lives. The woman lay in a bed, her arm bandaged, her head wrapped, her face pale but breathing steadily. The boy sat beside her, holding her hand as if afraid she might vanish if he let go. The man paced nearby, his flannel shirt still stiff with dried blood. Exhaustion weighed on him, but leaving was never an option. Kindness is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is simply presence, the refusal to abandon another soul when the night is darkest. He had no obligation to stay. He could have walked away once the doctors took over, but something deeper kept him rooted. Perhaps it was the way the boy's eyes had clung to him like an anchor, or the whispered plea of a mother who feared leaving her child alone in the world. Whatever it was, he knew he could not turn away. Morning light spilled through the blinds, soft and forgiving. The woman stirred, her voice hoarse. You stayed. Her words were not a question but a realization, a thread of gratitude woven into her exhaustion. He gave a tired smile. Someone had to. The boy looked between them, his small hand still gripping his mother's. He saved you, he whispered, almost shyly. The woman turned her gaze to the man, tears gathering in her eyes. You saved more than that, she murmured. You saved us both. Days passed. The woman recovered slowly, her strength returning bit by bit. The boy began to smile again, small at first, then fuller, like sunlight breaking through clouds. The man helped where he could, fetching water, speaking with nurses, keeping the boy entertained with little stories. He had no reason other than compassion, no bond other than humanity, yet his presence became a lifeline. When she was finally discharged, the three of them walked out into the morning air together. The woman paused, looking at the man with quiet intensity. I don't even know your name. Daniel, he said softly. She nodded, as though committing it to memory. I won't forget. Not what you did. Not who you are. He shook his head. You don't need to remember me. Just remember that people will stop. That kindness isn't gone from the world. But she did remember. And so did her son. For years after, whenever they passed that stretch of road where glass once glittered like fallen stars, she would tell him, that's where we learned what it means to be held by a stranger's kindness. And the boy, grown older, never forgot either. In his own life, he carried that lesson like a torch, pausing when others rushed by, offering a hand when the world turned away. For kindness has a way of multiplying, echoing through lives long after the moment has passed. The accident was only the beginning. The true story was what followed, a thread of humanity woven through pain, a reminder that even in the darkest places, compassion shines. It was proof that strangers can become guardians, that one act can ripple outward, touching lives far beyond the moment. And in that, there was hope, not just for one family, but for all who believe that kindness is never wasted, and that every scar can be softened by the hand of another.